Today, we're diving into a really chilling story from the ancient Persian Empire. We're going to look at how a simple personal grudge spiraled into a royal decree for mass murder. It's a wild ride, and it's all about how quickly things can go wrong. So yeah, that's the big question, right? How does that even happen? Well, this story is a perfect and frankly terrifying example of how unchecked power can take a private hatred and turn it into public policy with unbelievable speed. Okay, so it all kicks off with three key players at the very center of this massive empire. You've got a super powerful king, his right-hand man who's just gotten a big promotion, and one single guy who decides he's not going to follow the rules. And that one decision, it sets off a catastrophic chain of events. So here's the setup. In the court of King Xerxes, this guy Haman has just been promoted above literally everyone else. And the king makes a new rule. Everyone has to bow down and pay honor to Haman. Simple enough, right? And pretty much everyone does. Well, except for one person. You can just picture the scene at the King's Gate, right? All the royal officials are there, doing what they're told, kneeling down for Haman. But then you have Mordecai. He's just standing there, publicly, openly defying a direct command from the king. And this wasn't just a one-time thing. It wasn't subtle. The other officials saw it, and they were talking about it. They'd ask him about it every single day, and every day he refused. It was this constant public display of defiance. And you just knew it was only a matter of time before word got back to Haman. And this, right here, is where a small spark turns into an absolute inferno. Haman's wounded pride is about to transform into a monstrous plan for revenge, on a scale that is just hard to even wrap your head around. Haman's reaction isn't just mild annoyance. The text says he was enraged. We're talking pure, seething fury. This one guy refusing to bow down just lights a fire inside him. But you know, for a guy this powerful and this arrogant, getting revenge on just one man? Oh no, that is not going to be enough. This is the moment the whole thing just goes completely off the rails. Haman finds out that Mordecai is Jewish, and instead of just targeting him, he scoffs at the idea. He thinks it's beneath him. Instead, he decides he's going to destroy every single Jewish person in the entire kingdom. The leap from personal insult to planned genocide is just staggering. So, he gets to planning. In the very first month of the year, he decides to leave the exact date of the massacre up to chance. He casts what's called a pur, which is basically a lot, kind of like rolling dice. And the lot falls on a day in the 12th month, giving him almost a full year to let his plan simmer. Okay, so Haman has his motive, and now he has a date circled on the calendar. But to pull this off, he needs the king's approval. The question is, how on earth do you convince the most powerful man in the world to sign off on mass murder? Haman's pitch to the king is a masterclass in manipulation. He's so clever about it. He never even says the Jews. He just calls them a certain people. He paints them as this foreign, disobedient group that's a threat to the kingdom. He's taking his personal beef and dressing it up as a matter of national security. And then, to really seal the deal, he offers a bribe. A huge one, 10,000 talents of silver to be paid into the king's treasury. This is an absolutely astronomical amount of money, basically meant to make the whole thing too good for the king to refuse. But the king's response is maybe the most chilling part of this whole story. His indifference is just breathtaking. He doesn't even want the money. He just casually tells Haman to keep it and then says, "Do with the people as you please." He gives Haman total unchecked power over an entire population without asking a single question. And then comes the final act. The king takes his own signet ring off his finger and just hands it to Haman. Now, you have to understand, that ring was everything. It was the ultimate symbol of power. Anything sealed with that ring was the law of the land. No takebacks, irreversible. So now Haman has the king's ring, which means he has the king's power. And what happens next is a terrifying look at how the normal, everyday machinery of a government can be turned into a tool for pure evil. The whole process is disturbingly efficient. It's like a checklist. On the 13th day of the month, the secretaries are called in. Haman dictates the orders. They're translated into every language in the empire, copied and then sealed with that all-powerful ring. Then, they're sent out by couriers to every single province. Just like that, Haman's private hatred becomes official, legally binding policy.
And the language in this edict, it leaves nothing to the imagination. It is brutal and specific. The command is to destroy, kill, and annihilate all Jews. And it makes it very clear, no exceptions. Young, old, women, children. And to top it all off, it gives everyone else permission to loot their property.
The final image here is it's so stark. You have the king and Haman, the two men who just unleashed this decree of death across their entire empire, sitting down to have a drink, like it's just another day at the office. Meanwhile, outside the palace walls, the capital city of Susa is thrown into chaos and confusion. People are bewildered. This might be an ancient story, but it serves as this timeless, terrifying warning. It shows just how fast personal hate can become law when it's mixed with absolute power and complete indifference. It shows you just how fragile the rules that are supposed to protect all of us really are.